What is going on, Raider Nation? It's JT coming at you with another episode of the East Coast pregame show with my friend. He's back, NJ Raider Nation. How's it going, NJ?
Disappointed. Just that's it. That's it.
Yeah, I feel like that's all of Raider Nation right now. Just extremely disappointed. Don't know where to go. Don't know how to feel. Just empty on the inside.
Yeah, I mean another crushing loss, and the whole, never coached at that level in his career. Jeff Saturday comes in and beats Josh McDaniels. Just more disappointment for Raider Nation. Just doesn't stop.
Never stops. It's just brutal. I mean, going into this game, I was like, we're not winning. It's not happening. Like, knowing it's just how the season's been going, it's just not going to happen. We're not winning against the Colts. Are you kidding me? And then, of course, the one bright spot of our defense gets exploited. Jonathan Taylor goes for over 200, or no, he goes to almost over 200, but the Colts as a whole go over 200. 2 rushing touchdowns, 6.9 yards per carry. Matt Ryan goes for a 39-yard rushing run, which is his longest of his career ever. Even beats his high school record. I believe it also beats his NFL record for most rushing yards in a game, formerly 38, now 39 with just one run. Just everything went wrong. Nothing went really that right. Started off very flat, picked it up in the second and third quarter, and then fell apart again in the fourth quarter. It feels like the same old song every season. We can never put together a full game unless it's the Texans, but even then we started off flat. So it's just a matter of where you go from here. That's just really where we're at, and there's really no answer to that.
Yeah, well, that same old song is really loud this year because, I mean, it's just getting ridiculous, right? After the bye week, we said this is the easy part of the schedule. Win the week after the bye week versus Houston, and then just lost to the Saints, lost to the Jaguars, lost to the Colts, and just terrible losses as well. Like the Saints, the blowout, Jacksonville with the blowing the lead again, and then the Colts, a first-time head coach in the NFL, just comes in and beats us like no problem. I mean, I'm telling you, this song, you got to turn the track because it's getting, constant disappointment. It's getting so ridiculous. And, to your point, I felt the same way going into this game. Of course they're going to beat the Raiders. Like, of course this guy's going to come into the NFL and beat the Raiders. Like, why wouldn't he? That's what kind of team we are this year. And it's just so disappointing after, so much optimism. And I mean, we're 2-7. I would have never guessed this. I really wouldn't have.
It's absolutely brutal. And like you said, looking at the stretch that we had, how we thought it was going to go, definitely has not gone that way. I mean, it's been really, really bad. We went into, after the Chiefs game, I was high. I was like, hell yeah, like our team looks better. We took it to the Chiefs all the way down to the wire. 1-point loss. There's nothing to be ashamed about that. We started off flat, but we're going into the bye week looking a little bit better. Hopefully we pick it up. And then Houston, we destroyed them. It was a great game. That was a great day to be a Raider. And I was like, oh my God, the Raiders are back. I know we're probably gonna pick it up, but I was happy then, and I was like, the stretch we're caught. New Orleans, Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Denver, Seattle, which is a little rough game, but then you just got the Chargers, the Rams, New England, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Kansas City. I mean, going into the bye week, we're like, this is a stretch where we could get easily to not 10, 11, 12 wins and make the playoffs. And look at us now. We're talking about getting the second overall pick and hoping that we keep that so we can get, I don't know, some future draft pick some future stud. But it's insane.
Yeah, and real quick on that. I mean, draft picks, the Raiders the last couple of years, it's hard for me to, get excited about that. I mean, when the draft comes, hopefully, build excitement. But, a quick touch on that. We're 2-7. Right now we have the second overall draft pick. But the way the Raiders have drafted the last couple of years, that's not exciting. Even if that was something that'd be like, that's the one thing to look forward to. Like, Is it though? Like the Raiders have done crap with
I've
draft
gotta
picks.
believe in Ziegler. I have to have confidence. Like that's all I got going for me is that I hope he can actually, draft, even if he doesn't like get a future Hall of Famer or anything like that in the second round pick. As long as it's a solid to great player, I'll be happy. Like as long as he makes contributions consistently for at least his rookie contract, I'll be happy about that.
The bar is so low.
The bar is so low. I'm hoping for at least a competent player to come out of the first round and stay on the team for 4 years.
Oh my god,
it's actually insane. It's just ridiculous how bad our team is right now. So,
Yeah.
but we're facing an equally bad team in the Denver Broncos, who are 3-7 currently, coming off a 17-10 loss to the Tennessee Titans, who just destroyed Green Bay on Thursday Night Football. I don't think we win. I don't know what to say anymore. That we're facing an elite defense, like straight up, probably top 1 defense in the league. It's being held back by an absolutely atrocious offense, but we're talking about a defense that's holding teams to 16.6 points per game, which is best in the league, holding to teams to 290.4 total yards on offense, which is second best in the league, holding them to 174.4 yards a game in passing, and then just 116 or something like that, yards per game on rushing. Those are just the basic stats. They have turnovers. They have a lockdown corner and Pat Surtain. They've had stellar play from their D-line as well. They just have a really good defense. And obviously we beat them last time we played them, but can Jacobs reproduce that magic? Because that's really why we won.
Yeah, I mean, the last like 3 times Jacobs, and for going back to last year, Jacobs playing Denver, he just it's for some reason it's that game, that matchup that he just goes crazy. So I mean, hopefully, but I think if you were to say like, okay, who do you want the Raiders' opponent to be? Good defense or good offense? I think I would take good defense. I'd rather them to have a good defense than offense. Just on paper, I just feel like it suits our matchup better. But if our offense isn't clicking, which it should, as long as everything's all right, I think if our defense is playing a poor Denver offense, I think our offense should be able to score a couple. I'd rather that than just an offensive shootout. But that's saying that our defense can hold a bad offense, right? And who knows the way our defense is played. I mean, we haven't done that either. So,
yeah, I mean, the Colts going into last week only scored 14 points a game, which was absolutely atrocious. We're right now bottom 5 in the league in points per game and 25.1. It's definitely a very disappointing defense in the past 3 weeks since the Houston game. It's been 24-0. So, I mean, there's really no fault for the defense for the New Orleans game. Doesn't matter how good they are. They could have allowed 1 point and they still lose. Jacksonville 27-20 and Indianapolis 25-20. So these are 1 point games, 1 score games, I should say. Very winnable. The offense has scored total of 40 points in the past 3 weeks, which is also atrocious. That's 13.3 points per game. But you're also talking about, a 0. So let's just do the last 2 weeks, which is still 20 points per game, which is extremely disappointing, and the defense has been trash, so that hasn't helped. But I made a tweet, and we're talking about performing down the stretch, being clutch like we were last year. The offense has had the chance to tie or win the game 6 times in this season, and they've been unsuccessful every time. Jacksonville, they had actually 2 chances. Indianapolis, they had a chance, and we all know what happened there. You're talking about the Kansas City game as well, Tennessee, Arizona, and Chargers. So it's a very interesting discussion to talk about how, yes, the defense has been bad, but they've kept them in games. And unlike last year, we've been unclutched. So what does that come down to? Like, I don't know how we win those types of games. Like, I think we're just being the opposite end of lucky. We're just being unlucky now. Like, we're losing those games instead of winning those games. And that's why we are where we are right now.
Yeah, that's really interesting when, say last year, everyone was throwing around Derek Carr's one of the most clutch quarterbacks because for a while he was leading since like coming into the NFL with fourth quarter comebacks, right?
He came into the season with 31 and he still only has 31.
Yeah, and at 31 he was leading up until 2014 when he came into the NFL. Since then, so that it's weird because what does that come down to? It's hard for me. It's with all this, new coach, everything, especially these games where it's like first quarter good, second quarter bad. It's weird because like that talent doesn't just change, right? Like the skill level doesn't change. So like what's happening? Is it like the coaching scheme? Like, are we getting out coached? Like, are the other teams, see, this is my big thing. Are the other teams adjusting better than we are? Like they're just, adjusting and we're not adjusting to their new adjustment. Because when something's split by halves, right? If you break down a lot of the games by halves, like the Raiders clearly are good in one half and they're bad in another. And to me, it's hard to blame the players. That's when I really like start looking at coaching. And it's like, okay, so if the other team's adjusting a certain way and you're not countering that or you're not answering properly, I think that's a coaching thing, right? I think that's where I start putting my blame because, Carr's not going to be having really good throws the first half and come out the second half and start, throwing badly. Of course, he's going to have a couple missed throws, but my point is overall, that doesn't make too much sense. Like the routes are going to be different. Like everything's going to be different. And I don't know if it's like they're overcomplicating stuff. I really don't know. And I think that's what the problem
or undercomplicating.
Yeah, whatever it is. I mean, exactly. If they're not doing enough, something's up. And I don't think, a lot of people have the answer. And that's what's frustrating. We can sit here and talk and, guess and say what we think and what we see. But at the end of the day, something is up and it's just crazy.
It's definitely crazy. And that's why I'm going into this week and just looking at like, if we're down, say 21 to I don't know, 20 in the fourth quarter. We have the ball and it's like a minute left and we're on like the 30 going towards the end zone. My dad literally asked me, we were on that 4th and 6. We were lining up to snap the ball. We took the timeout, but in the timeout, he was like, do you think we get this? I'm like, absolutely not. This team is not clutch. We are not getting this. And what happened? We didn't get it. It was a weird play call, but it was just like, I know that there's no point in even trying to think that we win. The only reason why I think we win is because we destroyed Denver last time and we just are on a 7-8 game win streak against them now. So it's like we always beat them for no reason. But yeah, I have no confidence in this team. I just nothing to say except that we suck and I think we lose a lot of our rest of our, if we don't beat Denver, I don't think we win another game this season.
Yeah, and going off that with everything we just said, it's funny because it was always the opposite for the last couple of years, at least with Carr at helm. If it's a late fourth quarter and we're down by a score and we're trying to make a game-winning drive, I felt very good with that situation. I love that situation. I encourage that. I was like, no, okay defense, just holding us into the game. I'm good with that. Carr will handle it. The offense will handle it. Yep. But I agree. That confidence is not there this year. And there's no way it's coming back because the craziest part is I was just looking at the schedule. There's 8 games left.
Yeah. And we could win out and we have a 95% chance of making the playoffs. That's just how that's not going to happen. But like, that's just how depressing it is. We're talking about 8 games of we think we're losing we could go 0-8 every single one of these games the rest of the season and it won't be a surprise to us, which is just depressing as shit.
I was shocked when I just realized 8 games left. 8
games.
It feels like there's a couple left, right?
It feels like we're at the end of the season and the draft is coming up. No, we're in mid-November. We still have until January 8th. We still have almost 2 months of football left.
It's 8 more shows of sitting here and talking about how bad the Raiders are.
Like eventually we're just going to be talking about the same shit every week. We talk about unclutch offense, bad defense, bad offense, and just it's baffling. Like you said, every season before now, we're talking about, oh, Derek, like last year against the Colts, I was downstairs. I was in quarantine because I was exposed to COVID. I didn't have it, thankfully, but I was exposed to COVID. So I was sitting downstairs away from my family, and I was watching the game, and I saw Derek Carr have the ball with like a minute and a half left against the Colts, and I was like, we win. This is a game over scenario. The defense made a stop. We got the ball back. I was like, this is game over. We win this game, and we did.
Toss it to
And
Clutch Renfro.
this season, after so the Chargers game, I was like, all right, that's gonna happen. Khalil Mack was just having an insane game against Arizona. I was like, okay, this is what the hell is going on? Like, this is unlucky. Like a fumble like that, and then automatically recovered for a touchdown is just unlucky. And then against Tennessee, I was like, all right, this is it. We're like, we have no clutch gene. And then against Kansas City, I was like, that's it. We can't do anything right. We have two guys running into each other. Like that's ridiculous. Like we have no clutch gene, and like you said, like you can go into any scenario where it's like a last second thing this season. I'll have no confidence that we win. No confidence.
I mean, I still did have that confidence for a while, but I think once
even you're losing it,
dude, and I'm the most optimistic person in the world. So, but once that Kansas game happened, the 2-point conversion still bothers me so much to this day. Yeah. And then just feeling good. I felt good about Carr driving down. Huh? And the two guys, Renfro and Adams, colliding. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's just a very bad team. It's a very bad team right now on every aspect, and it just shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that at all.
All right. Yeah, it's just crazy. So, since we're facing this other also awful, terrible team, how do you feel about this game? What is your NJ Raider Nation pick for this game? Like, what's the score? How do you think it's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
I mean, I'm always gonna pick the Raiders. I can't even be like, even putting my money. That's
the issue. Is I pick them every week because we should win these games and we're not.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the truth too, right? I mean, what's the betting line? Do you know? Are we underdogs? No, I think we're favorites again, right?
Oh, probably. I mean, at this point, Jesus.
But it's when are they going to get it right? We've been favorites the last couple games and we just keep getting destroyed.
Denver's 2.5 favorites.
Oh, okay, so we are the dogs. Well,
we're finally the underdogs, but
I know.
Like this should be like a 1.1.5. Like,
and this is when the way that the sports betting works. This is when we'll win, and then we're in the we're the underdogs. But I guess with that being said, I always got to pick the Raiders. If we were to win, we beat Denver by 2 scores last game. I think if we were to win, it would probably be by 2 scores again. It sounds crazy with the last 3 games, the way the Raiders have played, but I probably would give us a 10-point win. And so I would probably say, 30 to 20, probably 20 or 21 to 31. However, the 7s and 3s work best, but that's what I'm saying. I would definitely think if we were to win, it's a 2-score game, and if we were to lose, it's probably going to be the same way every game's been. 1 score
by a 1-score game.
Final drive opportunity, and we lose.
Yeah,
so
that's literally in every loss except for the New Orleans game. That's just insane.
Yeah, it really is interesting.
It's very wild. So for my pick, my Raider Cast official stamp it pick, 20-17 Raiders. I'm again going low score. There's no reason why I think that we score more than 3 touchdowns. I don't think it's just not something we do, especially against this defense. I don't think we blow them out the second time. Much like last season, we blew them out the first time and it was a lot closer the second time. So I have reason to believe it's going to be the similar way this year. But at the same time, I can also see it being a 24-20 loss by the Raiders. So just adding an extra touchdown to the Denver Broncos. And then, that's my pick. I think it's 2017. It's a very close win off the back of a good run game from Josh Jacobs, and then some great defensive plays by Max Crosby, possibly a sack or 2. And then maybe like a fumble, but not like a fumble recovery for a touchdown, maybe a pick somewhere. But that's really it.
That's a good pick. I think that's a pretty reasonable score. I think that's
based on how the teams have been playing, like, because Denver has been scoring points and we haven't been scoring points. So I think it's going to be a low score, ugly football game.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good. I think yours is probably more likely than mine, but 2017 sounds about right. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I just, I just, I just hope for something.
I just want hope at this point. I like maybe a Chandler Jones sack would be nice to see, even if we lose. Like as long as we can, I don't even know at this point, man. There's not a lot to root for. I got Max Crosby. I'm rooting for, hoping he makes like All Pro again this year. But after that, it's like fuck some Pro Bowlers. That's really it. Pro Bowlers and All Pro and a top 2 pick. Sounds about right.
Quick thought, just because
Yeah.
it just as it came to mind. Max Crosby, right? Say the Raiders continue this style of, I mean, it would be dreadful, right? If for the next, 5 years, the Raiders are similar to the way they are right now. I know. But what's the way Max Crosby's playing the last couple years? Say he continues that, the Raiders continue this. What do you think his chances are getting into the Hall of Fame?
Dude, he has to. So let's see, like, I don't know if he makes Hall of Fame, just even if he goes on this track and unless we win, I don't think he makes Hall of Fame. And you'd have to have Defensive Player of the Year, like probably 1, maybe 2 to make it, because you're not going to make it off of no Defensive Player of the Years. If he continues to get All Pro, some Pro Bowls, he'll definitely be in one of those like Hall of Very Good. Like this guy was legit. He'll be remembered as like one of those like unsung heroes of like the 2020s because he was on a shitty Raiders squad for 10 years. But I think he'll have a successful career. I don't think this, unless he gets injured, knock on wood, knocking on a lot of wood, right? just don't even want to speak that into existence. But it's pretty much I think it's like he'll have consistent Pro Bowl, All Pro nods throughout his career, regardless of how he perform, just because he is just that good. But I don't think he makes Hall of Fame. He has to win probably 2 Defensive Player of the Years and then have some playoff success with the team as a whole. That's just how it goes. Like you have to have some team success.
Yeah. I wouldn't go as far as saying like 2, but I mean, he definitely needs to, or he needs to be in consideration for that award. He
I would say 1
close.
and then a bunch of All Pros, like a few All Pros should be.
Because I mean, he was close for Defensive Rookie of the Year. He got second,
easy,
right?
second place, easy. Yeah. He was. There was arguments for him being above Nick Bosa, but Nick Bosa had like a touchdown, so that's really what brought it over. And he had more sacks, but Max Crosby and Nick Bosa is a lot closer than a lot of Niners fans like to think.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the case, but I do think, if he wants to be a lifelong Raider, which, I hope he is, I think that's so cool when these players, like, that's why I love, Carr's stuck with us for 8-9 years. But I think the Raiders need some sort of success to kind of give him that boost, that elevation. Like, we need to go a couple playoff runs. And I think he would have a better chance of being considered for the Hall of Fame. But of course, some individual awards he's going to need. But if he gets significant individual awards on top, he doesn't need the playoff success, but he needs the playoff success if he doesn't get some of those awards. That's my fear. Like, I just, I think he's a great player, great potential. I just hope he doesn't. Yeah. Like, I just hope, the Raiders don't just kill his career, and we shouldn't. There's no reason we should. I mean, this is, we have a pretty good track record of ruining people's careers. I mean, even Carr, like his potential was pretty high. Yeah.
I mean, and it's not there anymore. He's never going to raise that high ever again. But we killed Carr career. We killed Khalil Mack's. Like, we ruined. I mean, we traded him to the Bears, and then he just didn't. He's still really good, but he was never making it here. That's why. I mean, a good thing he got traded then, because that way he could continue to and actually be noticed.
I think Mac's actually one of those guys that you could say the reverse. Like, I think him leaving the Raiders did him more bad, because he hasn't done much with the Bears. He didn't do too much with the Bears. He was better while he was here.
His 2018 season was legitimately superb season. Like, he was insane.
But
he didn't get any more Defensive Player of the Years, but he got his in Oakland, which was really good. But again, that's wasting a career though. He's Defensive Player of the Year, he gets All Pros, he gets Pro Bowls, and there's no success for him
in the silver and black. But on an individual level, I do think Mac would have done very well if he stuck with Oakland. But that was one of the guys that Gruden traded away. So
yeah, it's just another one of those Gruden mistakes.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, if you guys enjoyed this video, actually let us know down in the comments how you guys feel about the Max Crosby Hall of Fame, Hall of Very Good, Hall of Awesomeness. How do you guys feel about that? Let us know down in the comments. Let us know your score prediction, stuff like that. Don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe here, and also NJ Rare Nation's channel. He's going to be coming out with a video very soon. I'm assuming probably the next few days. If you, like I said, if you guys enjoyed, like and subscribe. And I hope you guys had a great day. And peace out, Raider Nation.